Okay, I'm here to talk about masks and get myself kicked off of the internet. The thing that people are being convinced of is that these masks are actually working. They're not working whatsoever. Most of them anyway. There's one mask that works. A type of mask. I'm sure you could probably get a gas mask, that'll work too, but the only one that works is the N95. Alright. They got these other masks, they say cloth. They've been advocating cloth. They've been advocating them and the surgeon masks. And surgery masks don't do anything either. What they do, which is true, is they they block a droplet or two. Like if you sneeze, if you cough, if you just clear your throat, something might spew out. It's gonna get caught by whatever kind of netting is right there. That's not gonna allow something like a droplet to get through. So cloth, even in this situation, would work, but it's not that kind of virus. It doesn't spread like that. It's a thing called an aerosolized virus. The aerosolized means it's just airborne. It floats. It doesn't need a droplet as a vehicle. You cough out and then probably 1,000 come out your mouth if you're sick. So whenever you're in a tight, enclosed environment, like a small office or a small home, because a lot of people had to camp out together and just be house locked for months, and anyway, that got a lot of people sick. It's crazy because in a lot of places they were even saying don't go outside, be with nature, don't go get exercise. A lot of places did though too, and I was lucky enough to be in one where I could go outside. And anyway, the only one mask that actually works is this N95 mask. That's the one made by like 3M. It has a filter on the side. Somehow or another, it actually can filter out these viruses, even though I can't comprehend it, because the virus is 1,000,000 times smaller than a cell. And I don't know, if even it could filter out a cell, that's a small little space. And how do you get enough air? I actually read though about that on even the fact checker for the USA Today, that the one kind of mask that actually would cause you to get low oxygen, according to them, I think they all would, but was the N95 respirator mask, which is respirator N95 mask, the thing with the filter on it. It's the same thing. Okay. And because in the news media, they're trying to hype it like, no, it's not going to give anybody low oxygen. Even in the fact checker for USA Today, it's like the paper of imbecility. Even they would admit it. The N95. And then they just say, like, take it off once in a while. Okay? But it does say it. So, hey, if you want constant protection, you can't even take it off. The people who did studies in mostly hospital settings where they were testing masks, the only really effective way to do it was with an N95 mask and to not take it off. They had to wear it the entire shift. Maybe they could go outside and take it off. I don't know, but because the virus, of course, is going to collect when you're inside. Okay, and then you're in a hospital. Just viruses floating constantly, probably. So anyway, they have different masks for different, wards of the hospital or whatever. But they're going to have one for aerosolized viruses and one for more like droplet type viruses. So anyway, even darn WHO, they're slow to catch on, right? Of course, like everything keeps on changing, and every week there's a new advisory about how we should treat the virus. So forgive me if there's too much to say, but the WHO finally came out and said that it is an aerosolized type of virus, and it's going to transmit through the air, not through droplets. That's not like his main thing like they're saying it was for the longest time. So, I read this in a review of mask studies actually, that came out over a month ago. I read it just about a week ago, but nevertheless, yeah, I already knew, and that's why I'm already ahead of their game. Because this same review of mask studies, it mentions that the cloth ones don't do jack, and the surgical masks do almost nothing. In fact, the cloth mask, there's only one study in the entire thing. And the cloth mask in the study, they said, might possibly have caused a 13 times higher rate of infection than the surgical. I don't know if what the other one, and I think the other one was the surgical mask. But it was a devastating result. And it even says right there that that was the only study that they did. Now I heard that something else came out, and I wanted to do some homework on that. But then I heard that it was the same thing. The results were miserable, and they're not broadcasting it or anything. I mean, it was like 4 days ago, 5 days ago, the CDC, they said again that you should wear cloth masks. They're hyping them. I mean, the guy was even saying, like, yeah, mine's like, has a bear catching a salmon, you know, for my native Alaska. I'm representing. He's not representing me, I tell you that. I think that he's probably up there with that goofball vice president who was running with McCain. What's her name? It'll come to me. But I gotta just be one step ahead of the game right now for you. They're gonna tell you not to wear the cloth masks. Soon. It's gonna be a revelation. As if they didn't know a long time ago. But they did. A lot of things in this whole entire campaign against COVID is a campaign against you and a campaign against common sense. Okay? Because in their own study, you can read how ineffective, if you want to call it that, but hey, if it can actually increase your chances of getting infected by 13 times, it's worse than ineffective. It's in fact effective at getting you infected. So think about that one. And just think about it. I mean, if you're breathing through cloth, you probably have just a whole bunch of viruses right here next to your mouth. Why wouldn't you? You probably have just like a collection. At the end of the day, if you don't rinse that, wash that thing, I mean, you probably have to have a man in a suit come by and pick it up and burn it. Because this is an aerosolized virus. It's probably just coming up. I mean, who knows? I don't know the actual properties of the virus like that. But I do know, because common sense dictates. It tells you. Even though it's an aerosolized virus, it can still get caught. Just like anything, basically, on your saliva. Hey, your breath is constantly coming through there. Well, I mean, breath and saliva are slightly different, but you get the point, though. It's still moist, right? And so, the moisture then would trap things. A virus. No shit. So, I just can't imagine the rollout campaign they're going to have whenever they tell you not to wear cloth masks anymore. I just hope people get it by then, like that. Yeah, they've been lying to you for a long time. And you shouldn't have been buying their junk for the last couple of months. I mean, at least a couple months ago, it should have been clear and evident that the death rate was nowhere near what they said, and so we all should be free again. Do you remember freedom? It was that thing where we could like go out and do stuff and be with people, and we weren't denigrated for doing social stuff. Do you remember when we had basketball? Do you remember baseball? Like, those things, it happened right after the NFL got done, essentially. And, yeah, well timed for them. Because I think that there would have been humongous protests on a global scale if they actually canceled the Super Bowl. Which, I mean, I'm pretty much ready for them to do it right now. To announce it now that we're not going to have a Super Bowl by then. Anyway, I can get into a whole lot of different things about COVID. Alright, as I'm going to lay some things down for you, kind of recap a little bit. Now, don't even think about using a cloth mask like my company that I work for mandates that I do. Okay, because those may actually kill you. If you are old and susceptible to viruses, illnesses, and you have that thing and it increases your chance of getting infected, I call that deadly. So, think what you want, though. Go ahead and rebut me. The surgical masks, all they do is block anything that you spit. Okay. Or from spit coming into your mouth and you... Okay, but that's all... Like, the virus is going everywhere. It's in the air. You have to filter it out. Those holes, you can fit fingers in there. You think you couldn't fit a virus? An airborne virus? Alright, so that's those. And the N95 mask. I'm thinking they're gonna force these things on us. Of course, that's gonna be a huge boon for 3M. So we'll see. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Oh, in case you're wondering, this says Bill Gates is not a medical doctor. It's for another episode. Anyway, till the next one.